Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Indy and Dots podcast. I'm Indy. He's Doctor, aka Curran, aka Jazz. I'm not sure what James is going to call him, but I'll come to that in a second. So this week's guest is James Summerfield. People call him Jay. He's a personal trainer who's lost over 50 kilos. That's 50 in weight. That's changed his life. He's the owner of JS Coaching Limited and is an ex-semi-professional rugby player. He recognizes that with a positive mindset, anything is achievable, which means he's the perfect match for Curran. And I'm sure he ends up getting the same one-to-one coaching lessons from Curran like I do. So James, how you doing?
I'm brilliant. Awesome. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on, man. Honestly, I appreciate it. So tell me, do you prefer to be called James or Jay?
Call me Jay. Yeah, Jay.
Okay. So you got James or Jay. You've got Curran, Jazz.
Jamie as well.
Curran.
He gets called Jamie.
Yeah, Jazz calls me Jamie, don't you?
There you go. So you got three names. I got one. I think I should probably make some up. So if people want to shout me out with some names that I can have.
I think
some clean ones, please. Some clean names.
I think Sanj is a good name.
That's my Mrs. name.
Sanj or Mr. Dio. How about that one there?
Mr. Dio. I'm going to slaughter you next time I see you, man. Honestly, so James, tell me, how did you and Curran meet? How did you guys come to work together with each other?
It's a good story, isn't it?
I think it was through Pavan, wasn't it?
Absolutely. So Paran, guys, for listeners here, is my business partner in my medical teaching company, MedX. And I'll come back to you in a second, Jeremy, with the rest of the story. All I will say is I hadn't seen Paran in a long time. And he came up to my house when we were going to do some business work. He walked in. I said, bloody hell, you've lost some weight. And I said, who is your PT? Because there's no way you've done this on your own. And then he told me about this guy. And I remember.
Why do you think he done it on his own? Why do you think he done it on his own?
Well, okay, so the precursor was, so this is after we got married. Before we got married, Paran and I got married a couple of months apart, not to each other. Everyone say that.
Are you sure about
that? Well, the amount of time we spent together, as you know, Jamie, and as Indy, you know as well.
Yeah, I know.
You could always be married. But so Paran and I were sort of doing our own sort of PT pre-wedding. And, I'd see Paran all the time. And at lunchtime, he'd be really grumpy. And the reason why he's grumpy is because he was hungry all the time. He'd be eating carrots and hummus continuously. But, he lost a little bit of weight, but it didn't really shift. And so I knew that if he made significant, loss in weight, then there had to be a PT behind it.
He's a that was really guy. It. I like it.
He was like,
yeah.
Yes.
That's me all over.
Aaron is definitely a hangry guy. And then I remember DMing you, and then we set up what you call like a free session, taster session. That was back in now, I think we're talking 2018, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, end of 2018 maybe.
I think it was early start. I think it was around April. I think so. What do you remember then about our first interactions?
Well, when I first met you, I thought, okay, I'm looking forward to doing this. You had a positive attitude, and I love that. I love that about you. And I think it just went from there, Jazz. The progress you made from the beginning was really good. And yeah, it was. I mean, I enjoy it just as much as you, as we've been training. So yeah, brilliant.
Absolutely. And now, even with lockdown, guys, a lot of you that follow me on Instagram will have seen that Jamie actually regularly posts our sessions. Look, unless there's a blizzard outside or a storm, we are out there, we are training. He's come to my house in the garden, -3 degrees, and we still get the sessions in. And only the other day I was talking to him, I said, look, I look forward to training. I look forward to making gains. But honestly, we're at such a good friendship level now where I just want to have a catch up with you. We have a bit of banter. We talk about how to progress each other's businesses. So Jamie's got a very successful PT business, which is now scaling, taking it online. And so I just love that. Now he's a really good friend, and there's so much accountability he brings. Like I said, we're always making gains. So a pleasure to be your student.
Definitely.
Jamie,
I mean, yeah, go
on. Your name of the company, JS Coaching.
Yeah.
There's like your name's quite common because there's another PT guy called James Smith Coaching as well. He's like a big guy on Instagram. Yeah, so it's really similar. And I thought, like, hang on, is this the same guy? It can't be. Like,
no.
No way.
No. Yeah, I have heard of him. I mean, I don't follow him, but I have heard of him. He's a pretty big guy in the industry.
Yeah.
And even JS actually, a couple of times when we train on a Monday, I often have Zoom calls afterwards, and people see JS, Jaskran Singh, and they think I'm a PT.
Oh my days, so many parallels here.
Yeah. So they ask me, they go, are you a PT? I'm like, no, I'm not a PT, but this is my PT's top. So yeah, I get that sometimes as well.
I never even thought of it like that, Jazz, to be honest.
Jamie, how did you lose 50 kilos? And I think that's the most important thing that people want to know here.
I think for me at the beginning, I tried all sorts of things that didn't work. I educated myself, and the biggest thing when it comes to losing weight is sustainability. You've got to be able to do something for a long period of time. So trying to be perfect with your diet and training is not sustainable for everybody.
Yeah.
So you have to find that balance, and that once I found that what works for me, which everybody's different, it's I managed to lose the weight almost effortlessly at the beginning. So yeah, that's how I went.
You say you tried everything. What did you mean by that?
Well, okay, so I tried.
Were you doing like crash diets and stuff, or like having those herbal teas and all that?
What would happen with that? I'd have the mentality of quick results, and that's not the mentality you need to have. I would try and be really healthy, really strict with my diet for 2 or 3 weeks, but for me that wasn't sustainable. So I would lose weight at the beginning, and then as time went by, I'd have cravings, or I wouldn't feel too good, and then I'll just snack, and then I'll be doing yo-yo dieting. And
yo-yo dieting, there's a term for you listeners.
There you go. And it's if you're looking to make a change, you've got to have a realistic time frame for how you want to do it. You can't think, all right, in 3 weeks I'm going to do this. You've got to give it the time it deserves. 100%.
Absolutely. And just to give listeners a bit of an insight and kind of framing, Jamie, like I've seen the pictures of you, and you're a big guy. You know, you look nothing like you look now. I mean, even just your face, you've lost so much weight from your face. And what kind of age were you when you were, at your biggest? What was that kind of age?
21, coming towards my 21st birthday. I was coming up to 280 pounds. So
wow.
I was at my biggest, and I knew then, it was time. I need to make a change, and it's easily done. You don't realise, with bad habits, and it can easily get out of control.
What kind of bad habits are you talking about? Like,
exactly.
Okay, I'll give you a good example. A really common one is, for example, I'd have normal Coke instead of Diet Coke that has calories. I'd have calories in the liquid. I'd have calories in my oils, how I cook the food, and not make wise decisions with my food choices. To me, I thought that was healthy, but when you break it down, you realise it's got a lot of calories in, and I was not educated on that.
And back then, Jamie, were you eating a lot of sort of takeaways, like Mackies? Like, was that not a staple of your diet, or?
I wouldn't say all the time, but I'd say my day-to-day diet was, I was having a pizza. Again, you'd have a pizza, but I'd have put extra cheese on it.
Right.
And that would add the calories up. I wouldn't have good portion control. I'd have a lot of chocolate. Okay. And it's, to me, I didn't think I'd eat a lot in a day, food volume-wise, but calorie-wise, I would have a lot. And you're talking 4,000, 5,000 calories a day without me even realising.
Mad.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's easily done. But the good thing is you can have that same amount of food with making better decisions, food volume, so you can feel satisfied while dieting.
This is a big thing that Jamie told me about. The key to when you're eating is to feel full, and that then avoids you having snacks. And he was like, well, either eat things which are like good fats, which will keep you full of protein, or have things which are low calorie, but you can eat a lot of them to keep you full. And often, I know when you've done comparisons for me, like chocolate bar versus like, I don't know, 10 or something else, and you're like, bloody hell, how can this one biscuit? I think that's the stat you gave me once.
10 of what, Karen?
I can't remember, it was like a vegetable or something, or even there was like jelly, I think you were showing me once. You were like, well, if you're going to have this, you can still have a lot of this, but you're not getting calories as one chocolate bar.
And I think this comes down to another point, is just because you have a chocolate bar or have a Snicker does not mean you're going to gain weight. And it's the same with having a salad. Just because you have a salad doesn't mean you're going to lose weight. And that's a massive misconception in the industry, and what people think, in my opinion. So once you get out of that mindset, you realise, okay, I can have a chocolate bar while I'm dieting. I can have some foods I like. I mean, a Subway or anything like that, and you still can get the progress you want. And I think
absolutely. And I think you're the example of that, because I know you love 100%. A penguin.
I mean,
Jamie, to all our listeners, Jamie loves a penguin. And not one penguin. He will get through a packet of penguins. Easy, he will get through them.
My secret, my dirty treasure.
Mine's a bounty bar. A bounty bar. you have like a bounty bar really quickly. I'm like, oh, I feel good now. That's it. I'm good.
And we all know
But
why that
thankfully,
is,
no,
don't we,
yeah.
Indy? Because you're a bounty.
Hey, I'm white on the inside. Yeah.
Right.
Funny
So,
guy. The
Jamie,
reason
coming
why I
back
like
to it
bounty
though.
bars
Go on.
is because my grandma, she used to
Go on.
have them at home all the time. So when I go and
Right.
stay with her, she used to say
Yeah.
to me, "Do you want a bounty bar?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I became so used to having it that to me it holds a special place in my heart because it brings back memories of me being with her when I was a little kid.
Beautiful, man. Which means
Yeah.
now I can never cuss you about it because now you've been in this
There you go.
sentimental story.
See, now you're eliminated.
Lovely,
That's it.
lovely.
That's the way to do it. I gave it a story and context. You can't do anything about it.
And Jamie, coming back to when you were big, my friend. So give us a sense of, what was the mindset? So 2021 is when you're at your biggest. So let's talk about 19, 20 years old or 18, 20 age-wise. We're talking Indy.
Age 20 years,
age,
21.
yeah.
Okay.
So what was your kind of mindset at the time? Like, what were you doing in the day? What did you think about your views of exercise, progress, goal setting? Like, what was your
when I was big?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just before you made the decision to make a change.
So for me, a big thing is I didn't realize how bad my habits were. So that was a big thing. That was a time where I started dabbling into trying to make a change, not sort of 100% committed. I find I would have unrealistic expectations. So I would try to start a diet maybe for 2 weeks. I didn't see any progress and I would just quit. And that became a cycle. Or if I had one bad meal on a weekend, I would then feel guilty for having that meal. And then I would overdo it on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, trying to be super healthy. But for me, it just wasn't sustainable. So I'd just go through the phases of gain weight, lose weight, even at that stage. And until I gave up. And I found that it can affect your self-belief or self-confidence in trying to make a change.
Easily. Because if you're going in that cycle the whole time, it's really difficult to break out of that.
100%.
So what did you feel like? What was the initial reason before you actually got a sustainable method and you did lose all that 50 kilograms of weight? In that period when you were trialing it, what was the reason you were trying to lose weight? Was it for health? Is it the way to feel confident? Did someone say something to you?
Yeah, I mean, being honest is my confidence. I lack confidence. I felt depressed in myself.
Right.
And I thought, it's something that for me, I really wanted to do it. And once I changed my mindset in regards to, right, I'm not looking for quick results. I'm just going to look for sustainability. I found that way that worked for me. And to be honest, I think a big thing that sort of switched the change for me is being honest. I had a few doubters. People were telling me I just couldn't do it. You stopped trying. And I had that negativity. Yeah.
Hang on, who would say that to you? Because that sounds like a shit person, man.
Yeah, some of my family, believe it or not. Yeah.
Wow, that's really difficult.
Yeah, it's tough, but I did get past it, and here I am today. So,
absolutely, that was age 21, my friend. How old are you now, Jamie?
27.
27. So, like you said, it's not a quick fix. There's definitely what you're showing is delayed gratification. And I'm interested in that period when you actually lost the weight yourself. Did you have a PT?
No.
Or how did you go around? Oh, wow. So, so you had to be your own motivator, keep yourself accountable, and give us a sense. So, I know with me, we train twice a week and saying the optimal is 3 times a week. What were you doing back then to try and get in shape?
Okay, I was training 4 times a week, upper lower split. The frequency per muscle group was twice a week. I was tracking my calories, and on days I didn't track, which would not normally be weekends, I looked at portion control. I set myself targets, how many snacks I'd have a day. Because in most cases, it's unrealistic to try and track your calories every day. So I would have days where I would track, have that as a goal. I wouldn't get fixated on the scale because it goes up and down all the time. I used to be before. I chucked that out the window. And the trend over time, it was coming down. I started seeing results. And the confidence grew from there because it was working. And then I just got on a bit of momentum. And
What was your main go-to? Was it weights? Was it cardio? Was it
weights,
what was it?
100%. And that's another thing. You don't need to do lots of cardio to lose weight.
That's a big misconception people have.
Another absolutely massive misconception. You don't have to do hours of cardio to lose weight. I did none at all. What I did was make sure my daily steps was high. My protein intake was good. My calories, I was in a slight calorie deficit, and sustainable, long-term. Got the results I wanted, stayed accountable.
Just for some people that aren't well versed in the fitness industry, what is a calorie deficit exactly? Just to help people understand.
Okay, so a calorie deficit, everybody individually is different. You have how many calories your body needs to maintain weight. So Indy, yours might be 2,500. Jazz might be 2,300. It's all individually different. So if I was to eat slightly under 2,000 calories, or you did, Indy, that would be a slight calorie deficit. So you're tapping into your fat stores to lose weight in that thing. Yeah.
And then how would I calculate that if
so
I wanted to figure out my baseline?
Where trial and error comes in. Just because a calorie calculator says, right, Indy, you need 2,500 calories, that might be different for you. So you put yourself in a ballpark range, assess it after 2 weeks. If your weight and measurements haven't dropped, then you make adjustments. If you're going too quick, you add slightly a bit more food. A good example of that is, for me, a calorie calculator might say my maintenance calories is 3,000, when actually it's 3,400, roughly, give or take. So it varies person to person on that one.
Okay, all right.
And you found the momentum was building, and you said you found yourself more confident, so you were getting happier because you were seeing the results.
Yeah,
and did that impact other areas of your life? Because I know there is a bit we're going to get into, whereas semi-professional rugby, getting into the England side, like that's no small feat.
No, it's not.
And I want to understand what kind of age were you when you were playing sort of rugby at that level?
Roughly the same age. I was a big guy, but I was still fit.
Right. Okay.
I was very overweight, but I was in the forwards. I could still. Rugby's more than a contact.
Forwards need to be like big in order to maintain. Yeah.
And I was overweight, but I was a big brute, really. And one way to put it. But yeah, got to that level. I had to stop, unfortunately, with my wrist. I had a bad injury on my wrist through playing. But yeah, that was my passion. And after I lost that, I got a bit depressed as well off the back of that.
Yeah, of course, because it's such a big height to make it to something that's so prestigious like that. And then obviously to have to fall over because of an injury is quite tough.
Definitely, 100%.
I think from what you told me, Jamie, it was quite a dirty tackle, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I fell on the floor and he stood on my hand and stamped. Yeah.
It's not even benefit of doubt, is it?
And the thing was, I did break my wrist. I went to the hospital and I went through a bit of controversy where they did an X-ray and they missed the break. So I carried on playing for a year with a snap wrist. So, 8 months with a snap wrist, and eventually the pain was too much, and I went back, and I had about a year and a half without using my wrist. I had operations and everything, but eventually it did heal. So yeah.
So to context this, what age were you then when you started going through?
Okay, I was about 21. 2021. Rugby career at that stage was finished. The doctors told me it's not worth the risk really to play again, because if it did break again, it would never heal. So
you were 2021. You got into the rugby team. You then broke your wrist, and then you obviously started putting on more weight, which explains.
Yeah.
Right. Would you say the reason for your weight gain is because of all because of the massive blow of having the injury and coming out?
I'd say it contributed, but I was still big before that. So I might have gone from maybe 260 pounds to 280 pounds after that period, but I was still massively overweight at that time anyway. So it wasn't the rugby wasn't the sole reason why I was overweight. It didn't help. Yeah. But even before then, my habits wasn't good or anything really.
How did you make it into that team then? Like, how did you make it into the rugby team? Is that like a journey? Like, were you scouted by someone?
Okay, so you've got 4 or 5 different levels. You've got school rugby, and I went to club rugby, which is local clubs locally. Then you've got county, so I played for them. Then you've got Midlands or NLD. I played for them, and then I went to play for North Wales as well.
Wow.
So I got to the highest stage I could have got to for my age up until playing for Wales. Or England, I had a choice because I lived in Wales at the time. Yeah. And went through them stages.
So you started at like about early ages, about 13, 14?
I'll say 13, 14, yeah.
Wow. Because in my school, it was a massive rugby school. They used to have a big focus on it. They used to give people rugby scholarships to come in and help them win for the year. Wow. And then a few of those guys made it and got capped by like Ireland, or I think one of them made it to play for North England. I think they'd break England into 2, like North versus South or something like that. and they made it into there. And some of them, I think one of them made it to the actual pros. Like there's only one person I've ever actually heard of from our school that made it there. But I found that mega impressive. I mean, to have such an infrastructure in a school and to have kids come through to push through into that rugby level is massive. I didn't know that rugby was that big. I used to be, I'm still into football, right? So when I went there and I was like, why don't you guys focus on football? That's the commercial route. Because I think the accessibility of football is much lower compared to rugby. Rugby isn't played that often. I think there might be a bit of a class thing where like football's like a lower class thing in England and everyone plays it locally. But with rugby, it's very uncommon to find people from like, lower classes that play rugby. It's just not a common thing.
I think it's seen as more prestigious, isn't it, playing rugby?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I think one thing that opened my eyes is when I went to Loughborough University. It was very high tech. The test very precise. A lot more. It opened my eyes a bit, really. A lot more professional than what you would expect. Yeah, at that stage, it was really good.
Loughborough is a sports college, isn't it? So they have a specific focus. And I think during the Olympics, I think a lot of Olympians were hosted there as well. That's pretty cool. Even just on Thursday, Indy, I was talking to one of my school teachers. He mentors me in theology, and he was telling me that Chris Wokes. So Chris Wokes is a cricketer who plays for England right now. He actually played at Barbican School, which is not too far from where we are. I wasn't that year that played him from Queen Mary's point of view, but it was they did play against him, and that guy went on to play for England. So it is really cool when you hear this kind of grassroots level of people going all the way to the top.
Of course.
And representing the country.
There was a kid in our school called Ben Cox. He was 16. He's playing for Worcester, and he missed a day of school because he was called up by Worcestershire's team because their wicketkeeper was injured.
Right.
So he was wicketkeeping for them in an actual test match, and he stumped Marcus Trescothick. And I was like, wow. And he was like national news, and now he's a pro cricketer playing for Worcester, I think, still. But his story was insane because he was good at a lot of sports. He was good at hockey, rugby, and cricket. So he just chose cricket, and then he got the opportunity to go and do that and made the most of it. But that was a big story. I remember seeing that and I was thinking like, that's insane. This kid, he used to sit next to me and flipping business studies at school. Like,
and he's stumping Marcus Trescothick. I mean, he's a proper all-time England opener. And Jamie, when you were growing up, my friend, was there a push to play rugby? Like, was that champion? Because from an Asian background, there's a different kind of relationship with sports. I think it is important. I think both our parents would be happy for playing on the weekends. But if it came to playing a sport and doing your exams, doing revision, it's going to be do your revision, over sport.
Of course it is.
What was kind of understood in your family, and how was it set up towards rugby?
I think at the beginning, I started playing for just a hobby on a weekend, maybe after school when we had a bit of spare time. Yeah. And it got apparent that I was actually quite good at it. And, the teacher was saying, he could go far with this. And then that's when I started to really, I didn't neglect my studies. They came first.
Right.
But I did really push that after school when I had time, all the time. And that's how it sort of excelled from there, really.
When you say it became apparent, were you like just literally dominating guys on the pitch?
Well, yeah, I mean, I still hold the record of most tries in a game for my school, which was 10.
Wow, 10 tries.
Yeah, 10 tries in one game. Yeah. So,
Aloma here.
Yeah. So for me, Wales is especially North Wales where I lived. It's a very small area. There's not that many people in the school, so you might have 200 people in the school, the whole high school. So it's not that big, really. Mm-hmm. So you would stand out really a lot. And our little school managed to get to the final of the whole of Wales in the little cup. Wow. And that's how I sort of got recognised from there. And it sort of went from there, really. Went to the county, went for North Wales, moved to England, went on the England system as well. Right. And that's how it went for me.
And so was there a point where you actually thought, you were going to play for England? Like, was that like a realistic outcome for you?
When I was, 100%. I was actually in the Doncaster Academy as well. That was going to be my career. I was all set up for it. That was the thing I was going to do. So
how come you picked and chose from Wales and England?
Okay, so for me, when I was a bit younger, I did move to Wales because my mum and dad had a business. And then as I got a bit older, they moved back to England.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When I was a bit, maybe 16. And then from then on, I moved to England and went along the England system. So
does that cause issues within,
No,
because you've been capped by like a team in Wales and stuff?
it can do. It's because you're solid. You've sort of cemented your place in the Welsh team, and then you've got to build your way back up. You can go to the equivalent level, but they have already got their team. You have to show yourself and prove yourself to be in that team.
Yeah.
So that was, I did find that difficult at the start, but after a while, it was fine. Got in there.
Was there anything massively competitive that you saw in like the actual teams? Like, were there any crazy stories that you ever saw with people just acting out or trying to be more alpha than everyone else to intimidate others?
So I mean, some of the lads were on the travels in our bus. Some of the idiots, I'm gonna say idiots, they would open the back of the van and drag their feet on the floor going 60 miles an hour.
Why?
I don't know. Some of them, yeah.
Boys will be boys.
Yeah, 100%. But I think there was always that we're a team, but they're in it. They're there for themselves as well to progress to that next level. So it wasn't really. They were there for themselves, but not so much a team, if that makes sense. So it's very easy to feel isolated in that environment, especially if they didn't
within the team.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
okay. And when you started seeing, that you were losing weight, you started looking good, your confidence was going up, did you find that kind of impacted other areas of your life? Did you see that other things were going better in your life? Was there a knock-on effect? And what 100%. Kind of things what did you see?
Okay, my mindset for start, I was more positive. Before I was very negative. I was thinking positive. I pursued my passion after I made my change, which was personal training. I was more confident in social settings. I was more, just everything really. My life completely did a U-turn.
U-turn.
Complete U-turn. And just went upwards from there.
And everybody is listening now, Joe. Yeah, why PT? Like, everyone's going to want to know, like, what was the,
why?
Why? What's the big why? Okay, why should somebody come to you?
Okay, if you want support and you want someone that's been there and knows your struggles with trying to lose weight and trying to get in the best shape of your life, I can help you get there. And that is the big thing, really, because it's one thing having some form of knowledge with it, but you've got to be able to do it for yourself individually. Everyone's different. Some people can do one thing, some people can do another, and you've got to find that thing that you can do and stick to. And that's something I believe I can help anyone with, really.
Makes a difference.
Exactly. I mean, if somebody loves what they do, and it's quite clear. I've been in the gym. I've been around you when you're coaching other people, and although you have different types of clients, let's say, people who come in there to do different things. Like, I was quite honest with you. It wasn't really about weight loss for me. It was about sort of getting strong. Well, actually, no. When I first came to you, it was like, I want to look a certain way. And I remember showing you that picture of Zac Efron from Baywatch.
The one in Baywatch. Yeah.
When he does the whole. Oh, Indy, you're like that climbing scene when he's doing the whole thing like this.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
You've seen that. And I thought about you guys, actually. I watched it only the other day. And, so I said to Jamie, he looked at it and he said, we can get there, but you're not going to be very happy. This is what Jamie said. And I said,
you can tell that they're actually unhappy to get to that space for that day on that shoot. Like,
absolutely. And he said that, the body fat at that point, is not sustainable. And then this is only corroborated further by when I listened to Zac Efron, he talked about it recently. And he said, for films like that, when he had such a ripped body, they were counting everything he was eating, measuring the amount of water. And there were days where they said to him, you can't drink water. And so he's like, I'm so like, you feel so shit and you're so grumpy, and then he's having to go and do like a take for
you have to pretend like you're okay.
Absolutely. And so that's how it actually started, and but then Jamie said to me, so look, and this is the thing, guys, anybody listening, this was the game changer kind of statement that Jamie gave me that changed everything. It was focus on strength. If you get stronger, as a consequence, you get ripped, you get the aesthetics, you get everything you want, but all you need to focus on is getting stronger. And then he broke that down even more, which is
progressive.
That's it. That's his term. And to the point, like, Monday we had a session. Sorry, Thursday we had a session, and we're about to do a set. And okay, maybe last week we did 5 reps and whatever it is. He said, right, I want 6. You need to get 6. You get 6, we're winning. That's a PB. And it's really, really that simple. And that kind of incremental growth and that kind of compounding. He's a real proponent of that system, but he instills that belief. And now the belief for me is now it's strength when you focus on strength, the other things will come. And, I've had a lot of comments. We've shared a couple of pictures of my kind of befores and afters, and that's all good. But now it doesn't stop. And me and Jamie are on the path now to try and get that 100 kg bench press to 2 plates.
You'll definitely get that.
Indy, our good friend Harpal, me and him are competing. We're trying to get to that 100 kg bench press.
Well, all you have to do, Goran, if you want 2 plates on each side, just put 2 5s on each side, mate. You're done. That's it. Done.
This is
Objective complete. That's it.
What we could do is we could get some dummy plates, yeah, like nothing in them.
I've seen people do that on video.
Start lifting, yeah.
Start lifting. I think, Jazz, back to that sort of Zac Efron comment. I think with that one, in social media in itself, it can give off unrealistic expectations, and a lot of people, with men and women, when they look on social media, they think that's the expectation. Does that...
Yeah, I need to dig into this a bit more with you, but the social media side of things on Instagram, and people seeing like, people with amazing bodies and people doing
perfect lifestyle,
all these things that look fantastic, great lifestyle, influencer life. I think it's been perpetuated even more with lockdown, because people are at home and they're just looking at stuff on social media and they feel really shit about themselves. And the way the algorithm works is, if you get more interaction and people are like, oh, this is great, etc., you're going to get shown more than somebody else that's maybe on a different journey, or somebody that's still trying to get into some sort of shape, but not that perfect Photoshop shape that's unrealistic.
100%. I mean, it comes down to, I see it every day on Facebook and Instagram. You've got people promoting a weight loss jab that was on the news recently. I don't know if you've seen that.
What's a weight loss jab?
Basically, the jab, have a jab once a week. I think it's once a week or once every couple of days. And it would say it would reduce your hunger. But I did make a post on that actually recently. But doing it, looking for the quick fix and doing it like that, it's once you stop taking the jab, you're going to gain weight again afterwards. And I think one big thing is that that mentality. Everyone's looking for the quick fix. Once you get out of that and realize that it's not going to happen, you will be better for that.
That's how the monetization of it works, though, isn't it? Because if you keep taking the jab, that's how the company keeps making the money, because you keep coming back to need it. It's kind of like a drug addict thing, isn't it? Like you keep needing it because you know that you're going to have it.
And I know Jamie has really strong views on this, and so we'll pick this up as well. So on the other side, you've got this one drug, which is all about, we're going to stop your appetite, so you eat less, and you might lose some weight. But then we've got the other side, the steroids, the roids, right? And we talk about this a lot when me and Jamie get together, and it's so good. Like, I'll be there and I'll be doing some PB, and then we'll look at somebody else, and Jamie's kind of got this radar, like he knows, like laser vision. It's like, he's on the roids. He's on the roids. There's no way he's lifting that,
No, lads, I can tell you 100%. Like, even in my gym that I go to, my gym is heavy. There is heavy use of steroids. Like, I can call it out and I can just see it straight away. I'm like, listen, you're that big. I know that's not possible. Like, come on, man. I know you're juicing on something. And it's fair enough, because it's difficult for me, because I go in there and I'm like, I'm not big at all. I lift mediocre weights at best, but I'm okay with that, because I know my journey is to maintain myself with like back issues, to have a massive endorphin hit and just keep active. Because when I keep active, like prior to this morning, I woke up, I felt groggy. I did a workout. I've come on here. I feel energized and happier. If I didn't do that, I'd be a different person today. So I know that that's what I need to keep myself sane. For those guys, it's different, because they're using it for influence money, or they're using it for other reasons. And I respect that, but equally, be open about it. If you're taking steroids, just tell people.
I think again, that gives off unrealistic expectations as well for people looking on social media. And it gives you, if someone's trying to start out at the gym and they haven't got the results they want, even though they've made good progress for them, they can still feel down about it and give up, when there's no need to do that.
And you offered, really, Jamie, you were telling me you offered some steroids in your gym.
When I was, a few years ago, almost sort of, I'd never do it. I don't believe in it, but they were sort of trying to say, oh, come on, you can do this, do that. And, I was like, no, I'm all right.
Who said that to you?
In one of the gyms I was in. It's and you'd be surprised. It's very, very common, and it opened my eyes to think, wow, all these guys are doing it, and it just shocked me.
What was the stat, Jamie, you told me the other day about the number of
I think users? It's like, I may be wrong, but I think it's 1 in 4 in the gym.
1 in 4.
How is it so accessible? This is what I don't get. Like, how did they manage to
how they did it, and I mean, the guys were okay. They were not bad people, but they would have like a back room. They'd put the growth hormone in the fridge, and then they would jab them around the back. And people would just come to that gym just for a jab, and they would pay for, I don't know how they do it, their cycle or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how they used to do it. Now, this also comes down to another point, and this is what I tell Jazz about performance, is if you're a natural lifter, you want to look at performance increases over time.
Yeah.
Mix hypertrophy and strength together. Okay.
What's hypertrophy?
Okay, so anywhere, it depends on what movement. So maybe the 12 rep range, 15, 10 rep range. But you want to mix it up, because if you're not getting stronger in the gym or performing better, and I'm not saying adding reps every week, but I am saying over time, your body has no reason to change. And you've got something called protein synthesis. So when you hit a muscle group, okay, you have 36, 48 hours, your body adapts. Then you can hit that muscle group again as a natural lifter. When you're on the drugs, that's elevated for the whole week. So you can get away with doing back one day, arms next day, like they would do, or the typical bro split. And that's where that comes from. Where natural lifters shouldn't be training that way.
What's the bro split? Sorry.
So they would split each muscle group per day. So once a week, they would hit one muscle group, all muscle groups once a week. So
is that not the right way to go about it?
No.
So what is the right way to go about it?
Okay, so you want to hit frequency 2 to 3 times a week per muscle group. So for example, if you're someone that's really busy and you've got a busy lifestyle, you can do full body, focus on your compound lifts, upper lower split, or push pull leg split 6 days a week. That all depends on your lifestyle and how many times you want to commit to the gym. But each of them will get results, especially for a natural lifter anyway. So, but that's how you should train differently from someone on steroids.
So at the moment now at home, I'm doing I do arms one day and then back and shoulders the other day, and then I'm rotating that because that's all I can really do with the stuff I've got at home. I mean, there is exercises you can do with just dumbbells. You probably need to swap that up to a different split. I mean, how many times a week do you train? Three tops, maybe 4 if I'm lucky.
If you're doing 3, I'll probably recommend the full body. You'd notice after 3 or 4 weeks, you'd see massive increases in your performance and doing that than what you would do doing. Well, think of it like this: if protein synthesis, which means muscle recovery, and you're going to develop and grow stronger.
Yeah.
If that's elevated as a natural lifter for 36 to 48 hours, you can hit that muscle group again after 3 days. So why would you wait to the end of the week to hit it again?
Yeah.
And that's sort of the reason why you have different training splits.
I might hit you up after this for some advice.
This is the guy, man. He's got a whole branch.
I have noticed that my training has plateaued a lot because there's only so much I can do at home. And my old PT, he's disappeared. I think his business is just fallen apart because of lockdown. He's not been able to really carry on. And I tried to get in touch with him, but he's gone. So I hope he's out there and I hope he comes back, but there's no guarantee he will because he was he had his own unit and everything. And when the first lockdown happened, he was in arrears and stuff. So obviously it became quite difficult for him to maintain everything. I think for your model, is your model the same? Were you going to a gym or were you?
Okay, so I currently am in Pure Gym in Bentley Bridge, but since the lockdowns, I've adapted. I do online, I do outdoors in the park. Yeah. So I have a bit of a hybrid model in that respect. So it hasn't. I mean, lockdown has affected me a bit, but not too much. So clients just move from in the gym, outdoors, or if they live further away, online, and we go about it. Well, we do it like that. Now, it's not just a session, obviously. A big thing in the industry is personal training is just sell sessions. There's more to it than that. You've got to have the accountability. You've got to have the support behind it. So I do check-ins, monthly reviews, nutrition. There's more to it than just a session itself to get
absolutely.
So
that's the full package with Jamie. And I think if we segue into lockdown, and as Indy alluded to, a lot of PTs are struggling. And I know, Jamie, when we speak about even just PTs at Pure Gym, right, and how they're struggling, and then there's someone like you who is posting content every day, you're driving around, you're getting people's sessions in, you adapted definitely versatility in your model. What I find really interesting, just from a personal point of view, is lockdown 1 came, and during lockdown 1, we had good weather, but no one was really training. I had no motivation to train. and I think I hadn't trained with you for a couple of months, and then I think it was just before lockdown 2 we started training again. But then lockdown 2 came, and you and me were like, okay, it's here, but we're not going to stop training. And then you had the whole thing about the park we were doing, and there are videos of this, guys, if you want to go and check it out. There's me doing chin-ups off trees. There's people in the school opposite watching us do this. But we had a lot of sport. We had people coming through the park, and they were like cheering us on. We had gangster Dr. Dre music playing while we did bench press. And to your credit, like now I've said to you this many times, when summer comes this year, lockdown or no lockdown, I think it'd be really cool to do a couple of workouts in the park. Get the monkey bars, do all that kind of stuff. So how did you find it? Like lockdown 1's here. It's March 23rd, 2020. The government has announced everybody must stay at home. What are the thoughts going through your head? This is obviously your business, your income. What did you do at the time?
Well, at the beginning, there was a lot of uncertainty, and I didn't know what to expect. So for me, I did make at the beginning a lot of mistakes, but I learned from that for when the lockdown came again. I think there was, oh no, this has happened. I'm not prepared, and I did make adjustments along the way, and I learned as I went along. But it was a sudden thing. Oh, this has not happened before. Oh, what am I going to do? And it took me by surprise a little bit because it was so sudden. 1 minute you're in the gym fine, and then boom, it hits you. And I think it forced me to develop as a PT and grow as a PT. So in a way, I'm thankful that it's actually happened in that regard, because it's forced me to get better and adapt, more adaptable.
Absolutely. And I know you're working on your, like I said, scaling up your business. I know you've got mentorship even within your space as well. And you're looking at different models. So like you said, even when times are good, and I know you love being in the gym.
Oh, 100%.
And I hope a day never comes where like you get big enough, so big that you don't have time to train me.
I will always be in the gym. I love it. It's my passion. I love it. So
good man. Okay.
To be a PT in like a gym, do you have to have some kind of arrangement with them?
So obviously you need a level 2 and a level 3 certificate. You need.
Is that obtained online?
Sorry.
Is that obtained online?
Level 2, I think, is, but level 3 you need to do it in person.
Right.
So you need them, and they select who they think will be good for their gym. They don't just pick anybody that comes in. You have 3 or 4 different interviews, and it goes from there. And if they think you're a good fit, they let you in. So, but and once you're in the gym, you've got 2 different options. So you could go on rent. So you pay them a set amount each month, or you do shifts for them. When I go on rent, I find that better for me. But you can go in there for free, but work for them as well for free.
It's a good breeding ground, isn't it? I mean, that's in terms of lead generation, and I've seen Jamie in action, guys. So this guy's absolute killer, man. He's a predator. Like if he sees you in the gym, he's going to come up to you and be like, "Oh, you need PT." But he's absolutely awesome. And, he gives absolute value. So I reached out because of power. Value, and I know this is a word we always talk about, and it's like, well, have a session with me and then tell me how you feel. There's nothing lost by having 1 free PT session. Something was so interesting for me, like Jamie, I think he just told me last Thursday, was there's a lot of people who are in the gym and they feel that they need to be at a certain level before they can even work with a PT. They almost feel embarrassed of their own strength and body, that they're like, oh no, I couldn't work with a PT.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that is a very common thing you see in the gym, and a lot of people as well, which is understandable. It can be quite intimidating to go into the weights area of the gym with all these buff men, and people tend to stay on the treadmills or the machines, and that's sort of a very common thing. But over time, you'll realise that nobody's looking at you at the gym.
Exactly. No one looks at you at all.
No one cares. So.
But that being said, when I do look at other people, I see people do like really bad form, or just 100%. Even though they're massive, I see them do really bad form, and I'm like, how are you getting away with this? Like, if I did that, I would blow my shoulder out, and I'll have issues and I'll be in pain. How the fuck are you getting away with this bad form? Please tell me.
A common thing is a deadlift, bend in the back. That is so common, it's unbelievable. But again,
and you see people lifting numerous plates, and I'm like, how are you doing that? Like, if I did that with like a bar and did that with a bent back, I'd be on the floor. I'm done. Like, I need to go to the hospital, right?
I mean, that comes down again, like genetics. There's a lot of things like that as well. So someone might have better genetics in that regard, but they're definitely not fulfilling their potential training in a bad way. They could be on drugs, could be anything. But genetics also does play a massive factor in how much muscle you can build, really.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it's that whole thing that you always tell me is, focus on being better yourself.
Yeah,
look where
100%.
you were last week. Don't look at the other guys' lifts. It's all about progression. And there's one thing that India we touched upon, I think, very early on in our podcast series about mindfulness. And I was saying to you, when Jamie puts the barbell in my hands, he's like, "Have you got the weight? Have you got the weight?" There's nothing else on my mind. It's this bar. If I don't think about this bar in my hands right now, it's going to fall on my head and game over. No more Dr. Jasmine. Indy, bye-bye. There you go. Right?
Indy, bye-bye. I'll still be in there. Yeah. I'll get another doctor on. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
So to me, just this year has shown me, for me, the value of working out. So Indy, you talked about it, the endorphin release and kind of buzz.
I need it.
And I can really attest to it. When I've had a good session with Jamie, especially when it's like cold, that kind of adds to that kind of feeling that, I was still out there and I still got my PT in. And then you come in and I just have this extra level of energy. I'm buzzing. I'm like, look, I got it done. So Jamie, from your point of view, what's, when you tell people the value of working out, exercising, obviously one is aesthetics, and B, as a doctor, I would say, keeping your body fit and everything happening. But specifically the mindset and mental health, what would you say is the benefit of exercising regularly?
Well, obviously you've got endorphins that feel good, but you've also got self-confidence, self-belief.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
If you feel good about your body, you're going to feel good in your mind as well. And with better confidence, you're more likely to, I don't know, talk to that girl, go try and get that job. It could be anything. It's in that regard, I think confidence is a big thing that it can give you. The list goes on, really. I mean, you can feel, how can I put it? You're not as nervous in certain situations because you've built that confidence up. I just think in general, you're happier in yourself again.
Yeah.
So, and that is a massive thing. You're actually more happier, which affects other areas of your life, not just fitness. I do say it's a saying, health is your wealth. So.
Absolutely. For those of you who don't know, Jamie's got a really cute backstory in the sense of, so Jamie's married. Jamie got married last year. Tell our listeners, Jamie, how did you meet Serena? That's his wife now. How did you meet?
Well, I was doing.
Did he get the confidence? He got the confidence.
He got the confidence.
Yeah. There we go.
Well, I was in a fitness class. I was teaching a fat burn class, just a bit of cardio. Serena walks in, and she was rolling around on the floor. I killed her, completely killed her. So I'll be honest, and I tried to speak to her. I got her in a consultation, and she rejected me for a client. So but she kept coming to my classes.
Right.
And you just know, I knew she liked me at that time. And after about 2 or 3 times, we walked out of the gym. I spoke to her, and then it just happened. We kissed outside the gym. So went on a few dates, and 3 or 4 dates, and then together. And it's just grown from there, really.
That's brilliant.
She liked you from the gym, man. You were in the gym, you're working out, you're a buff dude. And she was like, "Oh yeah, this is the guy."
And this is interesting. The one thing she said, she liked the confidence.
Yeah.
Now, and this is something that I did not have before, and I didn't even realize it in myself. It's how I carried myself.
Right.
Something you don't even realize that you're portraying, and So again, another reason why taking part in the gym can really help your confidence.
Right, because it makes you more attractive.
Oh,
and I can attest to that, man.
Attractive.
There you go.
It really does, man. Yeah, I can fully attest to that. My wife, Shindy, she's noticed my arms getting bigger, my forearms getting bigger, my shoulders are bigger. And that's all down to Jamie put me through. Now, me looking at myself, it's hard for me to look at the incremental. But when somebody else looks at it objectively, you think, oh yeah, okay, maybe it is, you know what I mean? I'm making gains. So absolutely, guys. So, go on, Indy.
I get the same thing from Sanj, because she said, like, if you look at your pictures from years ago, you were a really skinny guy, and now you're getting big. I was like, yeah, I know. But then equally, I'm quite hard on myself. I'm like, nah, I'm not there yet. Like, please stop. Like, I don't like it, because I compare myself to my brother, who's a really buff dude. Like, he's big. Been going gym for years. He's massive.
Who's that guy? Afro-Caribbean guy, quite
CT
famous.
Fletcher.
CT Fletcher, right? Who's got that program on Netflix. And your brother met him. There's some sort of
here's what
competition,
happened, right? I'm not sure if you've heard of it, Jamie. The bodybuilding
Body power.
expert that comes every year in Birmingham, the NEC.
Yeah, body power, I think they call it.
I think it is. Yeah, that. So my brother went. He said to me, "Do you want to go?" I was like, "I'm gonna feel massively inferior. I don't want to go because it's just gonna fuck up my confidence, right?" So he went. He took his wife, and when he was there, he said he met CT Fletcher, and CT Fletcher had this like curl challenge, and he said like if you get like more than 6 or 7 curls, he'll rate you or something. I think my brother he's got like a video of him doing it, and he got to 10, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And he took his wife, and his wife was like, "I don't know why I'm here. This isn't fun." And they were walking around. As they were walking around, there was some I think it was some like butter being sold or something, or some like cream. And the woman said to her, "If your husband can curl these 2 bags full of it 20 times, we'll give you like a jar for free." And she said, "All right, let's go, Val. You're here now. Let's go sort this out, right?" So Val's doing it. He's got to like 18, 19, 20. His arms are done. He's finished. He drops it. He goes to collect the jar, and Suki goes, "Mine. It's mine. Yes." All right, well, I was like, "What did I do? I was just here for nothing then." Oh, thank you. Right. But the liberties. And then I thought, wow, you met CT Fletcher and you did 10. Jesus Christ, man. So whenever I train with him, he takes me to like places I don't like going. He's massively focused on like arms, upper body, doing everything. He practically kills me every time I see him. That's why I like training with him so much. When I'm on my own, you don't tend to have like that push. You try and do it as much as you can. And I wear like a fitness strap, so I know how much I'm giving, how much I'm doing each day. If I didn't have that, it would be a lot more difficult to feel like, oh, am I feeling up for it? Have I done enough, etc. That's been really important.
Absolutely, man.
Are you a massive advocate of straps or anything?
Yeah,
like,
I would. Yeah, especially wrist straps. I mean, knee straps, squats, elbows. Yeah, 100%.
Helmets,
even
shin
belts.
pads.
Belt. Yeah.
Oh
belts.
wait, hang on. We're on about 2 different straps here. So I'm on about like a fitness tracker. You're on about like straps. Lifting straps.
Okay, with fitness trackers, they can't, and this is something which can be quite deceiving. You might say you've burnt 600 calories as an example, but that don't try and all right, I can have 600 calories of food.
No, never.
Yeah, so it's it can be deceiving. It's not 100% accurate, but it gives you a guideline. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it gives you a decent guide to work with. With the knee straps and back straps, though, I've seen people do it with back straps and they're using it to deadlift. And I think if you need a back strap to lift, there's something. I think that there's something wrong with your form, or maybe you should be lifting that weight. You're just doing it for the sake of doing it.
I mean, I don't wear belts, but
belts. That's a big one I've seen.
I mean, in some ways, I mean, I suppose it can make it more comfortable, maybe, or give you that extra bit of support. But I don't really find the benefit when I use them, to be honest. I can see the benefit with knee straps and elbow straps, though, because if I've got a client with a slight knee injury, it gives it that extra support when they're doing light squats. So I can see the benefit with that. But I mean, for belts, I mean, they can help a little bit, but for me, my personal preference, I don't tend to use them.
Jamie, when you were in the gym, you know, when you remember being in the gym as a PT, what are the things that piss you off?
Yeah, tell me this.
Right, okay. Leaving weights on the floor. That has got to be the number one thing I hate. I can't stand it. Like, they put 5 plates on a barbell, leave it out. Just, yeah.
Why are you gonna do that, man? Why are you gonna do that?
Yeah. I see that. That's probably the one thing.
Tiny little weight, like a 1.25 behind a stack of 20s. And you're like, I want that 1.25. I have to take off 6 of these 20s to get that one little weight. Why the fuck would you put that on there first? Right?
That's one thing. And then you've got the second thing where you've got, it happens quite frequent, where you've got a man or someone training on one machine, but they say, when you go on another machine, buy it, they say, oh, I'm using that.
Yeah.
When they're not. So you've got like one person using 3 machines and he's only using the one. If that makes sense. That's quite common. That's
one thing I love. When I'm in the gym with Jamie, Indy, mate, I'm a king. I just walk around. He's the authority. He's
walk around like Conor McGregor,
yeah.
Well,
walk around like this, right?
There you go, yeah.
And literally, Jamie's like, we're using this machine. We've got one more set. Like, I don't even have to speak for myself. He gets the weight.
He's got a spokesperson.
Oh, mate, it's just literally, it's like premium service, man. It's like, doesn't matter how full the gym is. If I come in and he's with me, we get what we want to get done, man. And it's just, it's awesome, man.
I do find with being a PT in there, people tend to let you have the equipment. So,
Yeah, of course
Yeah,
they do,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
then because they have more of a inclination to let the guy do his job. See what I mean? Like if you're there and you're wearing like a pure gym shirt, or if you're a PT, they'll be like, yeah, cool, carry on, it's fine.
Yeah.
Obviously, your time is more limited compared to theirs.
100%, yeah.
What other things are there, Jamie? Like I hate the guys that scream and shout. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the grunters, the grunters.
Come on, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not for that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
It's coming from Indy, who loves to do it in our Bangalore performances.
No. But that was at the end after I've done a performance, right? And everyone's screaming, so I'm not the loud guy. But the whole like hissing thing makes me laugh, man, so much.
Do they hiss again, Indy? Let me hear this.
Like, what are you doing?
Oh, man.
I've never heard that, man. When do people do that? I've heard the grunt.
I mean-
hissing.
Oh, people do that, man.
Yeah, they do it, Jazz. It's quite common. I'll tell you another thing as well, slamming the weights on the floor with a deadlift.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it's just, that's another one.
But I can see why, because some people say I'm different. If I was in a deadlift, I control it on the way down as well. But if you're doing a heavy weight up, you don't control it on the way down because you just want to focus on the ascension. And I was like, all right, I get that. But equally, when it drops, I'm like, is everything all right? Like, what the hell?
But I think if you can't control it on the way, if you can't control it on the way down, it's too heavy. Some regards. So.
What else is there?
Yeah,
There's
things that
hissing.
piss you off, isn't it? Yeah.
What other things
People
is there?
definitely hog machine. I always see people on their phones.
Oh yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
Here's the thing for me. Like, so Pure Gym, as you go in, you got those bikes, right? The bikes and the treadmills, but specifically bikes. And you get people who are just like, I'm on the phone, but just doing this kind of thing, and they're not like really pumping the legs at all. And it's like, mate, what are you doing? Like, you're gonna be here for 2-3 hours. You're on the phone. Like, just
I
get
don't
in the
mind
gym.
people watching something as they're doing cardio, because I get cardio can be.
But actually doing it, not
that.
like just chilling.
Text-
Like
yeah,
really
they
slow,
texting. Yeah.
really slow. And Jamie, what's the what's the best excuse you've got for a client trying to cancel with you?
I'll tell you what, I'll go through some really good ones in a minute. But
Actually, hang on. I got one last PT one. Sorry, not a PT one. But one last thing that pisses me off: when 5 guys are around one thing, like one bench, you got 5 guys cycling on it for like an hour. Like, oh yeah, you go, then I'll go, then you go, then I'll go. And I'm like, lads, you do realize by the time it's your go, it's been 10 minutes and you're cold again. What's the fucking point? Like, split up, innit? No.
Indy the PT. There
I'm using that. That's it. It annoys me, those things I see. I'm like, I don't need to use the bench in it ever. I don't bench. But I'm like, all right, cool.
Bro, I used to be like you, man. Like when I met Jamie, I used to be scared of the bench. And now
I'm not scared of the bench. I just get too many problems with it. So I'm like, all right, I'll just do like dumbbells instead.
How are you benching? Are you doing it like this, or are you putting your elbows down?
I think I've had like so many posterior issues that now if I probably bench, I'd be all right. But I used to be like this all the time. So when I was benching, I'd get pain like here.
Did you have rounded shoulders?
And I'd be like crooked. Yeah. I'd be crooked on the way up. And I was like, this is weird. So I was like, okay, leave it. I'll just do like dumbbells where I can focus on that actual getting everything back in place, locking it, and then work. I think I could probably go back to benching now when I'm back in the gym. But yeah, man, I had numerous issues with this. I thought leave it.
Like I said, one of the big things with bench is people tend to bench like that, and the rotator cuff, and they can really do injury.
It puts
that's
really
another really like super common thing you see in the gym. Go too heavy, lift the elbows up too high, and then injury.
That's a really good point. To anybody who's listening, guys, the value of PT, these nuances, right? It's so
all the little things.
They're so small, like as in when you look at them. But literally, when I'm with Jamie and I know like I'm not doing the correct form, bang, spots it out and he's like, right, lower the weight, let's focus on form. Just this last week we did rows and we did slightly lower weight than our usual weight, but we did more reps and we did pause reps and we're going slower. And he's like, clean.
The tempo was slow. You were going too quick on your movement and you were rocking a bit, so we had to lower the weight. So.
And it's these nuances, guys, where you have somebody who's got the knowledge. Jamie definitely has the knowledge. He's got the experience, and he provides the accountability. And those 3 things for me. I was saying to somebody at work last week, Indy, where I don't have to be motivated to go to the gym or to work out. Jamie turns up. He's outside. He messages me. I'm outside. Let's train. That's it. And then once I'm there, it's like pick up this weight. And then once that's done, I might do one more set. And then by the end of it, the session's done, and you're feeling great. That's it. That's that's the value of.
I missed out about my old PT, man. Like I didn't want to go on Mondays. Like Mondays, like the worst day, and I was like, let me just do PT there because it will give me like a bit of a kick at the end of the day. And I go into his little unit, and it was freezing. Like winter, it's cold. I'm wearing 3 layers. Come the end of it, I'm just wearing my t-shirt because I'm sweating so heavily, and he puts me through. He puts me through my steps so much, and I was like, this is great. Thank you. I'm glad I came. But inside, I'm driving in the cold car, and I'm like, it's horrible. Why am I doing this? It's a dark road. You know what? Fuck it, I could just turn around, man. I'll text him. He won't care. Right? No, you just carry on and do it, man. When you get there, you feel so much better for even turning up.
I think it's recognizing that motivation is not permanent. It's never always for anybody. It's never going to be permanent for anybody. So once you've got habits in place, a routine, you know, that's fine. Because
that's the key. That's the key question. The key point there, sorry, is the motivation and habits and discipline. Once you're instilled, once you're conditioned. Jamie and I, we're booked in till April now. I think all our sessions are booked in. And once we get to mid-March, we'll book them again. It's done. Whereas the motivation will wear off. It's like coffee. It's like an espresso. It's only good for a certain amount of time. And Jamie, coming back to your thing, though, my friend. What things?
Excuses. Sorry,
Excuses. What pisses you off?
Oh, I'll tell you, one of the worst ones I've had is someone's robbed my bank. I can't withdraw money.
What?
Wait.
Robbed your bank?
So, I'm not joking. I've had one person say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't do P. I got to cancel because someone's robbed my bank. I can't withdraw my money." I mean, come on.
It sounds like they own the bank.
Yeah, go to a different ATM, man.
And one more thing. The worst one is all my pet chickens ill.
Pet chicken.
Yeah, I've had that.
Who's got pet chicken? Bloody KFC in the house.
I'm trying to think some of the weird ones I've had. Yeah, I think the pet chicken and the robbing the bank was them two of the worst.
Pet chicken robbing a bloody hell. And actually, I mean, this isn't funny at all. But I know, Jamie, even during COVID, you've had clients who have messaged you who've actually got COVID.
100%.
They've gone to hospital. They've come out and they're fine. And so, that's been the clients who've been engaging in your services, it's been kind of up and down. But even throughout that,
even with COVID. So what happens when they've got COVID? We take because the service I provide isn't just for sessions. So we take the sessions out the service. That's why I have a monthly review. We're always assessing, always talking. And in that place, okay, we've got the accountability in place. Nutrition, look at that. Again, because they're not going to be as active, they're indoors. We need to look at the nutrition side of things so they don't start gaining weight because their need or activity isn't as high. So we just make adjustments that way and price accordingly for that, basically. So it's just about, it's a whole package you're looking at, not just a session.
Yeah, which most PTs are. And I know, obviously, because I have Paren's wife, Dee, when she was training with you while she was pregnant. So you have experience working with a wide variety in terms of ages, in terms of goals, in terms of medical conditions. You really do provide the whole package. And one thing I'm always really impressed with about you is actually your anatomy, your knowledge of muscle groups. Look, even though I'm a doctor, my specialty is I'm not a surgeon, so I don't remember all the muscle groups, but exactly. You're like, right, you're doing this is your rectus spinae, this is your secondary muscle, this is your primary muscle, this is what we need to hit. And you just know your shit, man.
I mean, the thing is, you've got to understand why you're doing the movement and what muscles you're trying to hit. So it just comes with the job, really. You've got to know why you're doing a certain exercise and where you're targeting. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Lads, I think we need to wrap up in a sec. Should we skip to the quick fire questions?
Yeah, no problem.
You want to go first?
Yeah. Do you want me to do all of them, or what do you want me to do?
I'll do the fitness ones. You do the first ones.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. All right then. So, guys, we've had an awesome podcast here today with our main man Jamie. And just before we get into our quick fire round, Jamie, is there anything you want to say to people who are at home? Maybe they don't have a PT. That's the first thing, right? And they just want a bit of sort of guidance on what can they do in their house, what is achievable, what can you actually do with minimal equipment. What's your message to people like that?
Okay, just because you haven't got equipment doesn't mean you can't do exercises. Be adaptable. Use water bottles. Use anything you can. There's plenty of things you can do out exercises to get results you want, and just keep going. Don't let the gym be an excuse not to train. So,
Perfect. And people that want to get in touch with you specifically, Jamie, I'll use my PT guys and I can vouch for him completely. What is the best way to get hold of you? Have you got any sort of offers going on at the moment? Anything like that?
So JS Coaching Limited on Instagram, and I've got a 28-day trial coming up in March 1st. So if you would like to take part in that, drop me a message on JS Coaching Limited on Instagram, and I'll put your name forward for that. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, and guys, after this podcast is released, we will be tagging Jamie in that. So if you want to reach out to him directly, please do. All right, Jamie. So are you ready, my friend?
Yep.
So in the quick fire round, I don't want you to overthink anything. It's just whatever pops in your head.
First thing that comes in your head.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, here we go. So 3, 2, 1. Ribena or squash?
Squash.
Excellent. Favorite place in the world?
UK.
What?
First thing that comes in my head.
There you go.
Oh,
He's a
man.
patriot. He's loyal. He's loyal. Man.
Disappointing.
He's loyal. Okay. The genie of the lamp grants you 3 wishes. What are they? 1, 2, 3. Go.
A gym.
Oh, yeah. Good.
He's so loyal. Jim.
Okay, a gym. 5 houses.
Right, yeah.
My own island.
There we
Yeah.
go. Okay. So
Island in
gym,
the UK.
5 houses, and island.
Island in the UK, off the UK, like
In the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. I don't know. Anyway, somewhere
Okay,
hot.
nice.
No, somewhere hot. Somewhere hot.
somewhere hot. All right, okay.
Okay, I'm going to hand over to Indy now. He's going to do
All
some
right.
more PT specific ones.
Okay, Jamie, ready?
Yeah, got it.
Dumbbell, barbell,
Barbell.
squats or deadlifts,
Squats.
chest or arms,
Chest.
running or cycling,
Cycling.
early morning or late evening workout,
Early morning.
cardio underrated or overrated,
Overrated.
protein bars or protein shakes,
Protein bars.
powerlifting or bodybuilding,
Powerlifting.
and grenade or my protein.
My protein.
Ooh, that's
There you go.
controversial. Okay,
There you go.
that's it. Grenade is my number one thing, man. I
I
love
mean,
it.
I had a grenade bar today, actually. The birthday
Yeah.
cake one. So.
I hate the birthday cake one.
You don't, oh, well, there we go.
It's not my thing. That's the only flavor I don't like.
Oh,
Oh
God.
man, that's it. Though. I think we can wrap it up there, guys.
Lovely. Indy, any
Perfect.
shout outs this week, my friend?
Last week, a really good response to the Bungarao and Farmers Movement podcast. Thanks to everyone for their feedback. My phone's been blowing up. I'm sure Goran's has as well. So that was really great. Thanks to everyone for listening. Any topics you want us to cover, please shout us.
Yeah.
I think next week, me and Goran are just doing a podcast ourselves because it's been a while. So
Yeah.
we'll be covering everybody's feedback and things that they've said and maybe do a bit of a recap from previous episodes. That's it.
Absolutely, guys. So if you're listening to this now, thank you so much for getting to the end of the podcast. Please give our guests, some feedback as well, and comment on what you've enjoyed most in this podcast. Post any questions as well. We can put it to our experts as well. And please, guys, hit that subscribe and follow button. Indy and I want to make this a lifestyle. We want to grow this. We want to scale this up. Follow us. Leave us a review on both Facebook and Google. You can copy and paste them. Come on, we're not expecting you to be overly worky. But yeah, please do subscribe, guys.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Cheers, Jamie. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you very much.